guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who have been watching my videos for a little while over on my Instagram, welcome back. And for those who are new to my channel or new to the YouTube side of things, welcome. I wanted to create a safe space for people of backgrounds similar to myself and anyone else who goes through these issues that we all experience in life, where people can comfortably come and discuss things that are so stigmatized usually, and they feel comfortable discussing it, raising awareness and just gaining knowledge in situations that they feel day to day. So most of the videos that I've posted up until now are things that I've either personally experienced myself, or people who are close to me have gone through it and I've been there and I've seen it, and so I've learned from it, and things that I've learned on my own journey. But as my channel is attracting different types of audience for these videos and I'm getting different people watching this, I'm getting suggestions for new and different topics. And one of them being able to say no and not feeling guilty. So recently I did a post on my page and I asked you guys what you wanted me to cover next, and this is what came up. So I thought it's a good one to get into and discuss, because it is something that a lot of people who are empaths or codependents, which I know some of you are because we've discussed it in the DMs, is something that a lot of people feel guilty with, and they struggle with saying no. So it's important to understand where that guilt's coming from and why you're feeling the way you are, and also ways of trying to manage it so that you start putting your own needs and priorities above other people's. Not being able to say no can cause a lot of issues in someone's life. It could affect their relationships, their career paths, and just generally their mental health state and their confidence in themselves. So we need to learn how to be responsible with our yeses and assertive with our nos. And also we need to understand that there's nothing wrong with saying no. It's absolutely fine. It's you prioritizing your needs and wants. Because when you say no, and you know you're being selfish, you feel it, you know that. But when you're saying no, and it comes from a place of genuine, you're unable to do something, then you've got to listen to that and prioritize that I am physically or mentally or emotionally am not able to deliver what this person or these people are asking of me. And therefore, I'm going to say no for my own well-being. So the reason a lot of people, I feel, find it hard to be saying no is guilt. So when you feel really guilty, when you say no and you feel really guilty, then that comes from a place of something happening in your childhood. And when I say something happening in your childhood, I don't mean like an extensive abuse or like dealing with addicted, abusive parents or anything like that. It could just be like a small mom giving you a little bit of a guilt trip for you not doing something, or just emotionally not neglecting you or not validating your feelings so much. That's where the guilt comes from, because as a child you haven't really been validated, and therefore you felt the need to please and to win that validation over. So you would constantly spend your time trying to please others or do things for other people just so that you're given that validation. And that's where the root of that guilt comes from. And the second reason why people find it hard to say no is because we don't want to hurt or upset other people. So if they're close to us or we care about their feelings, then we don't want to let them down and we don't want to disappoint them. That's another reason why a lot of people struggle with saying no. But that also is okay in times for you to say no and prioritize what makes you feel good. So the idea is to get to a place where we're comfortable and we mean it when we say yes, and we don't just say yes for the sake of pleasing other people. And you want to be helpful and you want to do things for people that you care about, or even if you don't care about them that much, but you just want to be kind. When you say yes and you don't really mean it, then it's not genuine, it's not from the heart. So is that really generosity? Because generosity is not generosity without boundaries. Because if you're just saying yes for the sake of saying yes and you don't mean it, then you're doing things that are forced on you, not because you're choosing to do so. And therefore, you're not really in turn being very kind or helpful. You're just pushing your needs and wants aside and trying to prioritize and people please others. And that's not really the way to live or to go about things because you're not being true to your authentic self. One of the other things that's a real issue for people to say no is FOMO, that fear of missing out. Be it in a professional capacity, if it's a job opportunity, your brain just plays up on your mind and you want to be able to grab that opportunity and not miss out on it. And same when your friends ask you to go somewhere and you just really want to go, but you know your plate's full, you know you've hit your limit, you know you're at capacity and you physically cannot take anything else on. So those are some of the reasons why we as people find it hard to say no to people. So let's figure out how to go about doing that, saying no. So all this time we've had a bunch of guilt, a bunch of expectations, and a bunch of things that was playing on our minds that wasn't allowing us to say no. But an easy way to learn how to say no is to follow 3 steps, which is to be clear, to be concise, and to be kind, to be nice about it. So I'm going to explain the 3 points in detail, but if you are preparing to say no, it's important to just remember these 3 points and do them in that order and understand that when I say my no, this is how I need to deliver it. So the first one is to be clear. Most people, when they want to say no, it's like a maybe, let me see what I can do, I'll get back to you. When you already know that it's a no, then it's important for you to understand that you need to show that respect to the person who's asking you and be straight with them. Because it's very easy for us to build up scenarios in our heads and think, oh, this person's going to lash out on me, or I'm going to disappoint them, or I'm going to say something that they don't agree with, therefore I can't say no. But you don't know that. That's just your subconscious mind. That's just, a bit of anxiety playing up in your head and you thinking of the worst possible option. But you actually don't know if the other person on the receiving end will actually take that in a bad way and react, or they might just turn around and be very understanding and say, oh, okay, sure, no problem, I'll ask someone else. So it's about not being wishy-washy and humming and hawing when you already know the answer. The minute you're hesitant about something and it doesn't feel like a yes, then that's for a reason. Take a step back, think about it and see, can I genuinely do this or can I not? And if you cannot, then be clear about that. Not a maybe, not to say yes at the time and then hope to text them later or drop them an email later and reject or decline. Just be straight, and it will just show the other person where they stand, and you're showing them that respect so that they know what they're doing, because they're turning to you for something, so they need someone's help. And if it's not you, then you're giving them the opportunity to find someone else to do that for them. Because if you drag it along and you don't say no, and then you say no last minute, you're putting them in a position where they can't find a replacement. So it's important to be clear. The next point is, when you're saying no, that you need to consider is to be concise. So most people feel comfortable giving a reason or a context as to why they're saying no. So if you're getting invited to a party and you have prior engagements and you can't physically go, you don't need to tell the other person that, oh my God, I have so much washing to do and I don't have much to wear, and also I have this other party that I'm considering going, and also I have work the next day so I can't stay up late. All these reasons and excuses, you're trying to justify that in your own head, but the person who's asking you just wants an answer. So you don't need to give them a whole story, a background, your week's schedule, plans. You just need to be concise. So you need to be comprehensive but brief. So you give them enough detail that they know you cannot for whatever reason. So if someone's asking you to go somewhere with them and you've got something planned, you just say, I'm so sorry, I'm unable to do this time for you because I have prior engagements. And that's it. You're concise, you're telling them you've got plans. You don't need to explain yourself at every little thing. You don't owe that to people. As long as you communicate it clearly and you're giving them a short reason as to why you can't make it, then that's all people want to know, and also that's all you owe them. It's not your job to give them a whole background, and it's not your job to really try and make them understand or convince them. That's their prerogative. They're asking you a question and you're giving them the answer that suits you, and that should be respected. So if you're to the point, clear and concise, then there shouldn't be an issue. The next thing is to be kind. So just because you're saying no, it doesn't mean that you have to be rude about it or abrupt or be short and just be like, no. Because when it's, even if someone wasn't expecting anything from you, when it comes up quite abrupt, then people just get offended by that. So it's always important to deliver your message very kindly and in a way where the other person doesn't feel like they're bugging you or that you're not interested or you don't want to help them. If you can't make it somewhere and you've had a really long week and the weekend's coming up and you've made plans with a friend but you don't want to go anymore, all you have to do is just tell them, I'm so sorry I can't make it this time. I'm absolutely exhausted. I want to be able to have a good time when I'm out with you, but since I feel so tired, I know I won't have a good time and I'll probably ruin your night too. So do you mind if we take a rain check on that or we reschedule? And most times, most of your friends would understand that and they would respect your honesty. If they don't understand and they lash out, this is where I've discussed before in my other videos that when you start setting boundaries with people who are quite manipulative and quite controlling, then they don't like that. And there'll be a bit of a backlash or a bit of a discomfort in the relationship, but that's okay because that's you setting your boundaries and doing what's right for you. And people who genuinely care about you and care about your well-being wouldn't have a problem with that and would respect it. And people who do have a problem and can't accept it, and even after you've said that is your boundary and they can't respect that, then you know that they were using you in the first place and you shouldn't have been doing anything for them anyway, because that's not a way to treat people. If you're constantly respecting what they're asking of you and you're putting their wants and needs over your own, then that respect should be reciprocated back to you when you have something on and you're physically unable to help them anymore. So if they don't like that, then you know where you stand within that relationship or context or that person. Most times people don't have a problem hearing a no when you're gracious and kind with the way you tell them no. They respect that and they understand that and they don't have such high expectations of you. The problem is that with the guilt that we build ourselves in our heads, we always seem to feel like the only way to get validated or to get love back or to get accepted is to do things for people and to please them, and that's how we feel good about ourselves. Most times those expectations are set by you on yourself, not other people. And if other people really have a problem with your boundaries, then that's really their problem, not yours, because you're doing what's right for you, you're delivering it in a kind way, and you're trying to make them understand why you can't do something. Even if it's like an opportunity and you don't want to seem like you're taking that for granted and you're rejecting it, if you're doing it in a kind, gracious way, most people will understand and probably will accommodate so it fits with you. Having said that, it's also important to consider the context and the situation of where you're saying no. Sometimes when it's someone very close to you and you care about them, then a longer explanation is needed just so you don't offend them or you don't hurt them or they understand and they're in the loop of things. So in certain situations, it's okay to give a slightly longer explanation and a reasoning as to why you can't join them or you can't participate or whatever it is that you're being asked to do. But most times, just remember, short, clear, and kind. That's all it takes to be able to say no. It is so vital to be able to develop this skill of being able to say no. All it does is that it makes you more compassionate towards yourself. It makes you put yourself first, because nobody in the world is going to put you first if you don't prioritize yourself. And it's about you taking control of your life and of your choices and making responsible decisions and taking direction of which way your life goes. If you're constantly prioritizing other people's needs and wants and you're going around trying to please them instead of yourself, then you've completely neglected your life and your desires and wants, and you've given other people the control of your life. So learning to be able to say no is a skill that we need in all aspects of our lives, and it's important to understand why that guilt is there, where it's coming from, and it's also so important to understand that it's not your problem if you say no to someone and they can't accept that, because clearly they're putting their needs and wants over yours. So why are you expected not to be doing the same thing? In order for us to get it to a really good place in our lives, a happy place, It's understanding and taking responsibility for those statements that when I say no, I feel guilty because of those things. I'm aware of them. That doesn't make me a bad human being. And I'm not going to allow other people's wants, needs, and demands affect and alter my mood, my energy, and my happiness. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you again here soon. Please don't forget to press the subscribe button and like this video, and I'll be back next week. Mwah!